Working on my interests, it's who I am. I'm trying to make these digits look like EINs. When the help ain't free, you all help me. Salute to folks who turn their names to LLCs. The wealth is in itself to help a non-profit. To be better women or better men, whether business by veterans or common folks with a dream. We're all born with the same strength. We tread waters that were untouched. Let's be on the same wavelength. Behind the lava, front of our eyes. Let our legacy live off it when we're up in the sky. All signs point to us to help someone make a difference. With God as my witness, cause talk business.
Welcome to Behind the Lava, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the vibrant people and cultures of the Pacific. I'm your host, Michael Tan, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts, Milford and Ati. This episode is brought to you by Matai Watches, a luxury timepiece brand that embodies the essence of the Pacific Islands. Today, we have a very special guest, Fa'apepele Hunkin. She is a retired U.S. Army combat veteran, an international best-selling author, and life coach. Welcome, Pele.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all for having me.
So we like to jump straight into it and go straight for what's your origins? What's your background? Where your family's from?
Okay, well, first of all, I always, in everything and all that I do, I always want to give God all the honor, praise, and glory. And why? It's because I always believe that if it weren't for God's love, mercy, and grace, I wouldn't be here today. So, talofa, everyone. My name is Fa'apepele Hunkin, and I am from the beautiful village of Nu'uli, American Samoa. But I was raised by my grandparents, Fa'apepele and Auva'a, in Vaiusu and Pesenga of Samoa. And so I left Samoa in 1994 to join the military. And I am one of 13 and the only one who decided to leave Samoa to make a difference. And so out of 13, I am I'm the only one who served the military. And so I am here in South Carolina. I made South Carolina my retirement home since 2006 when I retired in 2013.
Well, we're so glad to have you because we've never had a best-selling author or a life coach on our podcast before. Could you speak on your family lineage? Because that name Hunkin sounds very familiar.
Yes. So Hunkin, my father is from Leone, and so but. That's where my grandparents, but I grew up in Nu'uli all my life. When my grandparents passed away, and then I moved back to my parents. And so I grew up in Nu'uli all my life until I turned 21 when I left. And my mom's name is Miriama, and my father's name is Malai Hunkin. And I owe my faith, I owe my journey, and I owe this life I'm living to my parents. And I always say that I've grown up looking like my parents, but I know if something were to happen to me tomorrow, I would die looking like the choices that I made in life. And I am ever so grateful to my parents for instilling that love in me and raising me to who I am today. That's why I am who I am today, because of my parents. But I owe it all to God, as I allowed him to be the cornerstone of my life. And so I have, like I said, there's 13 of us, and it's been an amazing journey here. I have 5 children. I birthed 3 and I took in 2 more. So my oldest is Nicole. She's 25. Dean Jr. is 23 and Victoria is 18. But I took in 2 more blessings. I kind of get emotional when I get to them. So Dominique is 33, and she was a soldier that I took in when I served in Fort Irwin, California. She was 23 years old at the time. She was going through a hard time in life, and so I took her in, and 10 years later, she blessed me with my beautiful granddaughter, Milan. And so Isabella is 18 as well. She's Victoria's friend. And so I've been a part of Bella's life since elementary. And so God has truly blessed me with great children. So yes, that's my family. Like I said, my mom and my dad, I really miss my parents. They are in heaven, but I know they are looking down, smiling, and they are proud of everything and all that I do. I honor them.
I see you're getting very emotional, and I know family is important, and I know when you're talking about kids, I have a daughter of my own, and it's very emotional too when I just thought. Um,
Yes.
I know you said you were one of 12 or 19. It
No,
was
there's
that correct?
13 of us.
13.
13.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I wanted to go in between. So 1 to 13. So you decided to leave. What were some of your influences? Because were anybody else in your family military, or did you just make the decision because are the reserve down at American Samoa, or and then touch a little bit of your time when you were in. How was it? And so majority of our listeners, they're we have a variety of them, and we'd like to have different opinions about the military. So if you could touch on that too, just your opinion of why what when you were in, and so I know it's a loaded question, but if you could touch up on it, that'll be great.
Oh,
And thank you
yes.
for joining. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question. And so, my main reason why I wanted to leave home was I wanted to give back to my parents. I wanted to be the one out of all of us to make a difference in my family. And I just wanted to be the one to set an example, for my siblings. But like I said, that was my main reason why I'm leaving Samoa, was that I want to give back to my parents. I wanted to serve and I wanted to make a better living, so I can, support them financially. We all know in our Samoan culture, we have falavilaves and everything that goes on. And I wanted to be that one, to always support my parents, to always, be the one that they can call on, that they can count on. So that was my main reason of why I left Samoa. So when I left Samoa, I joined the military. It was really hard for me initially. As we all know, English is our second language. And so I guess my accent was so strong at the time. And my drill sergeant was like, Dad, gone it, private, speak English. And in my head, like, okay, if I were to speak Samoan to you, I probably would tell you, speak Samoan. But I am so grateful for the opportunity, to serve, to make that choice, to make that decision to say, hey, I want a better living, for my family. I want to make that difference. And so I just want to encourage, Yalum Whanau Samoa, the younger generation to make that choice, to join the military for the betterment, not only for yourself, for your family, but most of all is for your parents. And I'm big on parents, because I miss my parents. And so that's why, I love to talk about that, to touch on, the importance of loving parents. But when I was in the military, it was very hard. Like I said, it was hard initially because that was my first time when I left Samoa for basic training. That was my first time being in the United States. I've always, traveled back and forth to Hawaii, and that was it. So 94 was my first time being in the United States of America. And I had my first, the basic training was in I call it Fort Lost in the Woods in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And it was the coldest time of the year. It was November, so it was snowing and everything. So being in the military had really taught me a whole lot, to be strong, to be the change, and just to be different. And so all my life, when I left Samoa, I've always been that proud Samoan. And I know you all had too. And it's just something within us, to always be proud of who you are. And that was my thing. I was very excited to be in the Army and just be grateful, that we got this opportunity to serve, to make the money, to make a difference, and to be a blessing to other people, and especially to our families. So I served for 19 years and I was medically retired. I wanted to finish my 20 years, but my last year, my dad was fighting for his life. And I chose to be medically retired. And I said to myself, I can always get another job, but I will never have another father. So the decision I made to medically retire in 19 years instead of going through 20, going for 20 years, that's the decision I will never regret, because I made that decision for my father. And that was the best decision I've ever made, since I joined the military. And I will not regret it. So I'm grateful, to God for giving me the power, the strength, and the mindset, to do what was right for me. It didn't matter what anybody, think or what anybody said about the decision I made, as long as I know my decision was for me and it was for my father. And, that was it. And so um, I'm just excited that I got to be in the Army, because I got to meet the love of my life. I met the love of my life here in South Carolina. And so we were married for 8 years, until God called him home and he was injured. I was married to the love of my life, Dean Ignacio Tahaji. He was from Guam. And so he followed me to Iraq, and that is the truth. He decided to follow me as a contractor. I'm already in Iraq because I had no choice, right? That's what the Army, want you to do, send you there. You can't, say, no, this is my duty. This is what I had to do. But because of the love that we have for each other, he said he wanted to be closer to where I was. So he decided to be a contractor, for the Army. And so when he was stationed in Balad, he got into a terrible accident that left him, in a coma for 6 months. And so those 6 months of my life was extremely hard, because at the time we had 3 kids, and Nikki was 8, Junior was 6, and Tori was only 18 months when he passed. So, like I said, he was in a coma for 6 months, and then God finally called him home. And so I instantly became that single parent. I became that single mother, but at the time I was already a full-time mother. I'm a full-time soldier and I was a full-time student. And so I wanted to give up, meaning I wanted to not serve the Army anymore. I wanted to just leave. There were so many negative thoughts that came to my mind, because he was the love of my life. But then I had to, think and say to myself, and I'm grateful to my parents, especially my mom. My mom was telling me to always, think of my children. So to make the long story short, I made Sergeant First Class. I made E7 in 10 years, and I am grateful to God for that. And so when I made E7, I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to get out. So my commander, I'm grateful to her, and she said for me to go to the, to the advanced course. And I'm like, man, I don't even want to do it. But the greatest thing that happened to me, I was selected by the Department of the Army to be an assistant inspector general, here serving for Fort Jackson. And so my mom said, this is God's calling. It's not your time for you to lead the Army. So I looked at my kids and I said, you know what? I have my children to live for. It's not about me. It's about these kids, because these kids didn't ask to come, to come in this world. So this is my responsibility. So I decided to take, the opportunity, that God has blessed me with, and I've accepted, the position to be, an assistant inspector general. So I went to school, completed it, and I am proud and blessed to say that I was the first Samoan female here on Fort Jackson to serve in that position, the E7 position, as a Sergeant First Class Assistant Inspector General. And so from there, I traveled the world, and I served in Iraq. I was in Kuwait, and I've been all over. And that's what, like I said, it is a great thing to serve, to travel. That was another, I forgot to say that, that was another reason why I wanted to join, because I wanted to join the world. I wanted to see the world. And so, having three children. And so now I am now a author of my book, Heart of a Warrior, The Humble Journey of a Samoan Warrior. And I have also co-authored 10 other books. And so I'm an 11 times best-selling author. I am a certified motivational speaker of Les Brown. And God has truly, called me to serve his people. And that's what I love to do. And I do it all because it's what I love to do. So now, after my husband passed, I lost my father, I lost my mother, but I lost my oldest brother, Ulysses Hunkin, at the age of 25 to brain tumor, and he died at such a younger age. And so every time when I get to another birthday, I'm thanking God that I made it to another year, because my brother didn't make it to where I am. I am 49. I am about to be 50 in a couple of months, and I am grateful to God that I made it this far in life. And so after my husband passed, like I said, I lost my parents, and then I remarried. I remarried 10 years. And I want to encourage anyone to know, if you had, lost a loved one, I encourage you to believe that you can always love again. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm very transparent and authentic with my journey. I will tell you all the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's just how I live my life. And so I remarried. And I never thought in a million years that I was going to remarry again after my husband passed. But hey, it's possible. So believe in love. But unfortunately, I went through a divorce. So I never believed in divorce, because I believed in the love that my parents had. And they had such a beautiful love. I think this year, my parents would have been married 55 years, I think. It's 50 something years. And so it was very hard for me. And so that's why I want to share this picture with y'all. So this was a picture of me in 2018 when I was going through my separation. I was, going through it. And I turned to alcohol. Alcohol was the solution to my problems when my husband passed. And I'm grateful to my ex, because he doesn't really drink much. And so he helped me. But when I went through my divorce, I turned to alcohol again and everything, until I was diagnosed with a heart disease in 2021. And that's when it finally hit me. And I had to ask myself, and I want to ask everyone, to our amazing listeners, what is your why in life? So my why in life are my children and my grandbaby, my granddaughter Milan, and my fur baby. I have an amazing Yorkie, Debo. And so I'm asking you, what is your why in life? That's a question I ask myself, right? And then I ask myself, is your why big enough, and is your why strong enough to get you to where God is taking you? And my answer is an absolute yes. So that's when I made that decision to fly. First, love yourself. So I loved myself enough to be the change Pele wanted to see. I didn't care what anybody see or think about me. I just wanted to make that change that I wanted to see. And that's it's only because my why is big enough and my why is strong enough. And so that's when I decided to write and tell my story. I wrote this powerful book in 90 days. And I encourage you guys to write your story. I encourage everyone to write and tell your story and share God's glory. When I first started writing my book, my children were the inspiration behind my book. I wanted to leave that legacy for my children. But I just celebrated 1 year anniversary since my book has been released. And you know what I realized? I said to myself, your kids, yes, your kids, were the inspiration. But you know what? I said to myself, God has always been the inspiration behind Heart of a Warrior, because if God didn't bring me through all of this, I wouldn't be able to write this book. So that's why I always give God all the honor, praise, and glory, because his grace is so sufficient for me that got me to birth this book out. And when I hit this, the 1 year anniversary of my book, I said to myself, this is one thing that I will never, ever do in my life again, is 600 days of never doubting what God has created and birthed out of me. You know why? Because he is the sole author and finisher of my life. And I encourage all of you to believe in yourself, because I believe in each and every one of you. And I would love to help you guys, write your story. I have some amazing publishers. I would love to see each of you hold your own book, birth your book out. And I encourage people to do that, because I was inspired to write my book because I know and I believe that my story is a blueprint for someone's life, and my story has healed so many people so far. And I want you to know that your story, someone out there is waiting to hear your story so they can heal. So I would like for all of you to, come next year, be like, hey, Pele, I got my book. I'll be like, yes, that's what I would love for y'all to do. So right now, from leaving Samoa in 94, retired from the Army in 2013, 10 years now, I am living the life, after many losses. I am living the life after divorce. I am living the life after the Army, and I am living the life through the challenges of life. And so when I've learned to believe that my life is magical, because magic was all around me, and, only because I had to believe in myself. And so, I encourage you to believe in yourself too. And so that's how I was able to make it this far in life. I prayed and fasted. I didn't go to no AA, because that's what someone had asked me, like, how did you make it, that far? And I said, prayer and fasting. That's the only way I made it this far, is because there is power in prayer. There is power in forgiveness. And I speak on power of forgiveness because I had to forgive myself. And I encourage everyone to know that, forgiveness starts with self. You have to forgive yourself before you even think about forgiving somebody else. And always believe that when you forgive someone else, it's not for them. Believe that it is for you. You deserve that peace. And I had to do that. I kind of had some challenges when I was writing my book, because I was kind of like, started to write bitter when I got to the divorce part. So I had to put a pause, to writing. And I told my publisher, I said, I'm going to put a pause on it. I'm going to pray and I'm going to fast, because I want to write my book with love. I want to free my heart and my mind. And that's what God did it for me. So when I learned to forgive myself, and I forgave my ex, and I forgave us, y'all won't believe this, but God's blessings has been mind blowing. So I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hear my story. And I love telling my story to share God's glory and how far he has brought me through in life. Because if God did it for me, I want you to believe that he can do it for you. It took a lot of dedication. It took a lot of determination and a lot of commitment. I made that commitment for my commitment for myself.
Oh, thank you, Pele. We were going to divide this into sections, but you basically covered everything.
I was just going. Sorry, because I thought you guys wanted to just keep going.
Oh, no. It's fine. It's fine. Meeting Ati and T, do you guys want to add to the personal story and the military before we continue on with their book?
First of all, I blame Ati for the loaded question.
Yeah, I mean, it was a question that led me to just,
So
I love it. Thank you.
But man, story's an amazing one. I definitely, believe in it, helping others heal and whatnot. Because, you were referred by Uncle Jesse.
Yes.
Our multiple Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer. And I was like, all right, man, if she's being referred by Uncle Jesse, then something real is up. And, I only briefly checked out the IG, saw you with the quick Sergeant First Class rank pin on, and seeing the self-love stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I wonder where all this is stemming from. And then hearing your story right now, I'm just like, wow, you've been through a lot. Everybody's been through a lot, but you've been through a lot. And it's like, wow, to, go through all of those and still rise up above it, to, be smiling bright and glowing right now and being able to talk about it is something amazing. But, so part of your story, of course you had your why and whatnot for kind of writing a book, but did you ever see yourself being the author? Did you have any inkling while you were in the Army or even in your youth? Did you ever see yourself writing a book in the first place?
Not at all. I never seen myself to be an author, although I loved writing when I was in the when I was younger. I loved to write, and even when I was in the military, I was writing a lot, especially when my husband was in a coma, and journaling, really helped me. And so when he passed, I started to journal more and everything. So if you asked me 20 something years ago, I never in my life, seen myself as as an author, but it always takes somebody else to see something in us for us to birth something out. I spoke at an event, The Sacrifices of a Mother's Love in 2015. And this lady, she is now, I'm proud to call her, she is now my spiritual mom. She pulled me to the side and she said, you know what? I don't know you and you don't know me. But I know one thing for sure. When you open your mouth, she said, you have a book in you that you need to birth out. She said that to me in 2015, and seven years later, there we have it.
And then real quick, I know it was self-discovery, self-assessment, you finding out that you need to love yourself and whatnot. But, always speaking about your parents and praising them, was there any wisdom from your father and mother that sticks out to you or, remains with you that helped you, realize, oh, wait, yeah, I am me. I am my parents' daughter. I am an awesome person that I need to love. Are there any words or wisdom that, you draw upon? I have a feeling it's in the book, but just, for this purpose, I want to ask it.
Wow. Yeah, I love this question, and I always love to share about my parents, and I'm always grateful to them, and I honor them in every way. And so out of all that they have instilled in me, my mom and my dad, especially my mom, have instilled in me and my siblings to always serve, with love and with all of your heart, with zero expectations. The only expectation you need to be expecting is God's blessings over your life. And so I have instilled that in my children to always say and do things with all of your heart and with lots of love, with no expectations, and to always believe that you can never expect people to do the same thing that you do for them. But when you, like I said, when you do things from your heart and with love, God will bless you in many ways many ways that you will never be able to explain. And that's where I am with my journey. I have blessed so many people. And the main thing that my parents instill in us too is to never tell the world what you do for somebody else. To know that God sees what you do and God will bless you with whatever that you will do for that person. We all know that we have a friend or two or a family or two. When you do something, when they do something for you, they will go and tell the world, be like, oh yeah, I did this. That is one thing that I cannot and will not do because of how I was raised. And so that's why I love what I do, and I do it with all of my heart and with lots of love because of my mom and my dad.
All right. Let's talk concrete cutting. And who better to go to than All Pro Concrete Cutters, owned by the one and only Thomas Fa'apepele. They're pros with over a decade of experience, so you know you're in good hands. Whether it's big or small, residential or commercial, they've got the skills and the tools for any job. Thomas Fa'apepele and his team take pride in their work, making sure your project is done right and on time. No cutting corners here, just precision and passion. Check out their website at www.allproconcretecutters.com or give them a call at 801-834-8835. Go with All Pro Concrete Cutters for top-notch results. All Pro Concrete Cutters, your concrete dreams cut to perfection.
It's an amazing thing to leave a legacy, especially for your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, and all those who will follow them. Just like us on Behind the Lava, this podcast will be our legacy, but you have solidified yours through your books. So my question is, for those who are trying to write books or thinking about writing books, because I read somewhere that about 80% of people want to write a book, about 3% actually write a book, and 1% actually publish a book. And you're part of that 1% to publish the book. What are some obstacles that you came across writing, the whole process of getting your book out there?
Oh, wow. Procrastination. That was my terrible friend. I was procrastinating. 1, 2, I have allowed the challenges of life to take over what God had for me. And so because I had to stick to my why, and I had to say to myself, never to allow your excuses, paralyze what God had for you. That's what I had to tell myself, because I was procrastinating, because I was creating excuses of completing, the 90-day, of why I had to write. So we had daily, work and stuff like that we have to do. And so I would have to double. I would say to myself, oh, I'm going to not do this today. I said, I'm going to double my work, for the weekend, or I'm not going to do nothing for the weekend. I'm going to work hard. So I was making it hard for myself. But I encourage anyone who wants to write their book, right? Now is your time to write and tell your story. Now is your time to use all the tools, to use all the talents and the gifts that God has blessed you with, so you can be a blessing to somebody else. And my thing, how I'm living right now, is I'm living full and dying empty. I was asked, what do I mean by that? I am living full and dying empty, meaning I am pouring everything that God has blessed me with. I am pouring out all the knowledge. I'm pouring out all the love and everything that God has blessed me with, because it's not mine. It doesn't belong to me, right? And so I wanted to be that blessing to everyone that God has placed in my life. So if I were to die tomorrow, I know I will die knowing that I will be leaving a legacy for not only for my children, my family, but it'll be for everyone that I have touched with my story. And so that's the kind of mentality, that's the kind of mindset, I want to be able to help someone with, to write your story. Don't be stingy with your story. Like I said earlier, your story is a blueprint to somebody's life. And someone out there is waiting to hear your story so they can heal. But like I said, procrastination, using the challenges of life to take over, what I got going. So those were my main challenges. And I'm just grateful to what God is doing in my life. But I really, really want to give a big, big shout out to Jesse Sapolu. I reached out to him and I told him this. I said, I reached out to you because I want to personally thank you, for what you do for our people, because I love football. So I'm not a Niner girl. I'm a Steelers girl. Don't judge me. So anyway, but, I support all, Pacific Islanders and all teams. And I give them, all the kudos because it's not many of us to be where we are. But when we are there, we are there to represent, Samoa. We are kako alam whangau Samoa. So I want to really and truly thank him. I shared my story with him, and that was my main reason of reaching out to him. And I told him I needed his help. I needed his help to share, for me to share my story. And little did I know, he made that connection the same day. And I was like, I was in tears. I was feeling very grateful. I'm humbled, and I'm just truly blessed to be here, with you guys. And I can't tell y'all enough how much this means to me because I always want to be that blessing, to our people and to the Pacific Islanders and to the world.
And for future readers, could you briefly summarize what your book is about so that it'll give them an idea of what, the sense of your book?
Yes. So my book is about the journey, this amazing journey that God has brought me through, my resiliency and the perseverance of my journey. So, Heart of a Warrior. Heart is the acronym that I use for my chapters. So the H I'm talking is my first chapter. I'm talking about my humble beginnings. 2 is my empowerment moments. A is attitude of gratitude. R is my resiliency, and T is when God turned my trials to triumph. And so my chapter 6 of my book, I wrote this chapter. I wrote a message to the warrior woman. And the reason why I made it specifically for the warrior woman to my warrior sister is because I am a woman, and it was written from my heart to every woman that's going to read this message. It was from my heart to them. And my passion in life is to place a positive impact in people's lives. But I know for me, my purpose is to inspire and to empower women to know that they are more than enough. So they can be vessels of love and positivity like me. And I want to help them to fulfill their God-given purpose. That's my purpose. And so my chapter 7 is my quotes. I have, quotes that was written by me, and I decided to make a signature quote every time I sign a book for anyone. I used to, take turns like, let me see which quote. But then I said, no, I'm going to have just this quote because this is a quote that carried me through. And ensure that you carry hope with you always, because when you feel like giving up, hope will push you to try again. That is my signature quote that I've decided to write, whenever I send out a signed copy to anyone. So that's what my book is all about. My book is going to help anyone rebuild their life. It's going to help anyone step into their greatness. And I always say, when you step into your greatness, I want you to own that greatness. Own that greatness with confidence. Own that greatness with faith, with joy. But all in all, because I'm a vessel of love and positivity, own that greatness with lots of love. So that's what that book is about.
So you were talking earlier, procrastination, and I can't tell you that word and me go together.
Yes.
So, but you know what? Yeah, you spoke on it too. Our journeys. No matter what walks we take to walk this topic called life. We end up in anywhere, but it's our purpose, our reasoning, and the meaning behind everything that we do is how we get ourselves out, from the darkness that, from the storm that we walk through, right? During that time that you were struggling, I know a pillar of, just from hearing you speak, a pillar on your side is God. What were other methods, or, were there any programs to assist you? You were talking about that you looked at drinking as a source of avenue to get away from your thoughts. Mental health. That's one of the things we talk a lot about on our podcast is mental health. Can you speak on some of your, alternate routes that you took to try to get yourself out from that deep, dark area in your life?
Yes, thank you. So one of the main programs that I am proud to be a member of is the Wounded Warrior Project. I am a Wounded Warrior Project alumni, and I encourage y'all, if y'all are not a part of the Wounded Warrior, get to it. They had the program in Boston for PTSD because I was diagnosed with PTSD as well. So they had this 2-week program. And so that 2-week program with the Warrior Care Network, great program. That's
Project
what.
Odyssey.
No. It's the Warrior Care Network. It's the 2-week treatment for PTSD. And so you have to, you can't drink, you can't smoke for people who smoke for those 2 weeks. So I actually started that journey in 2018 when I went to stop drinking. But then when we had our Thanksgiving that year, I went right back to drinking. But as life got harder again, I had to get right with God, to get right with myself. And so the Wounded Warrior Project has been like really the main program that has helped me. And I used to attend Bible study with my spiritual mama, Mama May. And yeah, those were the only programs. And I had an amazing support system. I have friends, mentors, you name it, coaches. I am grateful to everyone who's been a part of my journey, because I didn't get here by myself. And I always tell people that never forget who helped you get to where you are. And I am grateful to each and everyone who has touched my life in some kind of way.
I have one more question. And this is just regarding the influencing. I'm also a Wounded Warrior Project alumni too as well. So nice, glad to meet you.
Yes.
VLLE and everything that we
Yes.
do. So I personally know two authors, or Samoan authors, and they're both females too. One is Sia Figuel. I don't know if you heard her, but I wanted to ask you: do you, when you were writing your book, did you take did you have any influencers, Samoan women that were currently authors that kind of influenced you, or was this just or anybody else for that matter? Just a question out there to see.
No, not at all. Like I said, when I was a part of the Power Voice through Les Brown, that's when I met a publisher, and I said to myself, God has brought me through a lot, and I really want to tell my story, and I really want to touch people's lives. I really want to make a difference in this world, and just to place a positive impact in people's lives by telling my story. And how did I get to where I am today? And in my book, I'm talking about the steps that I took, and everything that I have been through, that I have used to get to where I am. It was not a pretty ride. There were many times in my life, in my journey, that I wanted to give up. But like I said, you have to tell yourself that your why is that strong and your why is that big. And just knowing that your purpose, what your purpose, in life. And I learned that it's okay to say no, and just setting boundaries, with things that are not aligned with God's calling in my life. And so that's where I am. I wish I knew those female Samoan authors, but I didn't know of anyone. And like I said, I just wanted to leave that legacy, for my children. And I loved writing, and I loved myself enough to be that change for me. And yeah, that was why.
Connections are important, not just social networking and all that, and having people you can name drop at any given moment at different functions. But I believe your story will connect with, not just women, but everyone. It's a universal story, loss and triumph that people often go through. And, I think people will connect. Like you said, our story, everybody's story is a blueprint, and they'll recognize that and be able to connect on that level. And speaking of connections, this 2020 year, it either strengthened connections with people inside their own little circles, or it weakened or just cut people off from the outside world, or having any feeling of connection. So what I want to ask you, and I don't mean to try to ask you for free, but is there any steps or advice, especially, being a woman and, us being a bunch of meatheads, we have wives and stuff, but you being able to connect with women more, is there any advice that you would put out there for them to sort of follow, to take a first step in self-love, not just recognition, like, oh, I need to love myself, but what can they do to, step out of that comfort zone of, of not moving, giving them the ability to move to, whatever stems from that goal of loving themselves?
Ooh, man, I love this question. You know why? Because you said something about stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm actually writing a chapter on that because I had to step out of my comfort zone in order for me to enter my growth zone. And so, to all my sisters out there, to women, to everyone, the first thing I would say is to know your worth. Knowing your worth, know that worthy is my name. That is Dr. Carla, that's her saying, worthy is my name. And that's why I came up with that fly, first love yourself, because I didn't know, how to, because I was too busy loving, my ex, loving the kids, love on everybody else. And we as mothers, as women, it's in us to always love others. But I just encourage, all my sisters, and even to everyone, love yourself first, because you can't love others if you don't love yourself. And like I said, every thing that I share is from experience. And so I had to believe that my worthiness is important. So know your worth and step out of your comfort zone. Do something different. Do for you. Always know. And I had to tell myself that, what? I can't be for everyone. So guess what? I can't be for everyone, because I am going to be for me, by myself, for myself. I have to be for me, for myself, by myself, for myself. In order for me, I had to work so hard on me in order for me to have, because you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So I had to be that person, to be strong enough, to have that courage, the strength and everything in order for me to help somebody else. Like I said, the very first step, is to, know your worth. But in my book, in all that I've been through, I came to never change. The very first step that got me to where I am was to allow God to be the sole cornerstone of your life. But it was the answer to your question of, what would I say, the first thing to say to a woman or to my sister. And that's my thing. Honey, know your worth. Know that you are more than enough. Know that you are more than a conqueror, in everything. And that once you realize that you are worth more than anything, your life will change. And it'll change for the betterment of you and not for anybody else.
And that's some amazing advice. And from hearing your experience and what you've gone through life, I now understand why you hold that title of motivation life coach. My question to you is: at what point did you decide to help people by basically coaching them in business, in life, and how's that working out for you?
Thank you for the question. So it's always been in me to help, to coach, to guide, and to lead all my life. But it really took all the challenges of life for me to say that this is God's calling for my life. For me to use all that I have been through to be a blessing to somebody else. So, like I said, I'm very transparent and authentic with my journey. I may be doing it wrong, and I know I am, because people always tell me, why aren't you monetizing when you coach? And I am working on it. But as of right now, I am coaching and helping people. But how God is blessing me is more than money can buy. And so that's where I am with life coaching, with mentoring, with leading, and just being, that other person that someone can count on, where I am with my life. So, like I said, how God has kept me this far and this long, it just amazes me. And I'm just grateful, to how He has brought me through this far in life. But is it okay? I want to share this song. Like I said, I'm not a singer, but I love this song. This is the song that has carried me through all the challenges of life till now. Never could have made it. Never would have made it without you. I could have lost it all, but now I see how you were there for me. Yeah. That's all. That's all I wanted to share. That was by Marvin Sapp, and that is the only part that I love to sing, because if it weren't for God's love, mercy, and grace, I wouldn't be here today. And that's the song from the beginning to this very moment. That's my song.
I was getting in the grind with the song. Yeah, I was getting in my feelings with the song. Last but not least, is my last question. We have a lot of single mothers out there, in the world. A lot of them, I don't know what the situations are, but do you have any advice for all the single moms out there? I know you're a single mom. You're doing it with, beautiful young kids. 3 took on 2. Amazing. Any advice to our single mom listeners out there for them to keep on grinding every day?
Yes. Never doubt. Like I said earlier, I had to believe that. Never doubt what God has created and what God can birth out of you. Never doubt that, because you have to believe that God is the sole author and, the finisher of your life. And it can be for any single, not just single mothers, single fathers. Single parenting is hard. So I advise, I encourage, I inspire, I empower you to believe in yourself, because I believe in you. And the 2 words that I live by daily is live and love. Live the life you love and love the life you live. And always remember that you matter.
No question for me, but really quick, I just want to say that your IG handle, it matches Pele Inspire. So hey, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you could have kept singing and it would have been the end of the episode. But
Good. So can I sing when somebody asks me how I'm doing? Can somebody get Debo, please? Just bring him to me. It's okay. So when someone asks me on any podcast, I'm sure y'all will see. So this is my baby Debo. This is my lifeline. Yes, this is my lifeline. Okay, so I'm going to share this song. Anytime somebody asks me how I'm doing, even when I go out, I was just singing this song too at the commissary, and my kids are like, really, Mom, you sang at the commissary? I said, yeah, he asked me how I'm doing. So I'm going to tell y'all. Ask me how I'm doing, I'm blessed, yes. Living every moment, no regrets. Smile up on my face, I'm like, oh, yes, I'm blessed. Yes, I'm blessed. Yes, I'm blessed. Yes, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be here with all of you.
Yes, sir.
I am honored. I am humbled, and I am truly grateful.
yeah, thank you for that. And what we like to do here in Behind the Love, I haven't done it in our previous guests, but we we kind of like to ask our guests if they have any questions for us just to kind of improve ourselves. Do you have a question for the panel?
My question is, so how did you guys come up with the title Behind the Lava Lava? I've always wondered that, like Behind the Lava Lava. So my kids said, I said, oh, I'm going to be on the Behind the Lava Lava podcast. He was like, Behind the Lava Lava? You mean the lava lava that we put around?
I'll let T answer that.
Oh no, I don't really have a good answer. So we were having like when brainstorming coming up with a podcast, we were having a little poll like, hey, what do you want the title to be? And there are multiple ones, and you can only imagine how family friendly they were. You know, especially being a group of immature Marines, and the one that ended up winning out that was most appropriate too was Behind the Lava Lava. And this, you know, like your family was like, lava lava, you know, of course right away the answer, we all know what's behind there, a surprise. But there's more of a deeper meaning to it. And then Michael will go into the actual true meaning of the name.
So Behind the Lava Lava, when I brought up the suggestion of the name, it was basically replacing the word lava lava with person or individual. What's behind the person, behind the individual. But lava lava, we just use that term because we were all Samoan Marines. For those who don't know, Behind the Lava Lava, the cast are all veterans. 4 Marines with our part-timer, 1 Navy and 1 Army. So we're all veterans, all Samoan. So that's where the word lava lava came from. Plus lava lava is a clothing that we Pacific Islanders use for everyday, especially if you're back in the islands. And the idea is that we're all cut from the same cloth. And that's where the word lava lava comes in place.
Nice. I have an acronym for, just listening to, the reason behind the lava lava. So I love acronyms. So the behind for me to you guys is that you guys are blessed. You guys are blessing many souls. The E is you guys are empowering, everyone that comes on your show. The H, I'm thankful for you guys' humbleness. You guys humbled your hearts enough to have this, for everyone. And the I, you guys are inspiring. You guys have inspired me. And the N, each one of you had that never quitting attitude to make it to where you are today. And the D, you guys are determined, to make this happen, for the people. And so the other T is the brotherhood. I just say T, for the, and the brotherhood that you guys have. And another H is that, what's another good word? H, I can say maybe the holiness. We all have some kind of holiness, and is that holiness amongst all of you, to know and to understand, to have God in your lives, to have this podcast for everyone. And E, you guys are encouraging each other, and you guys are encouraging people to share and tell their stories. And the lava lava, I'm looking at it, the love that you guys have for one another and the love for our people, not only just Samoans, but for all Pacific Islanders and everybody else that comes on your show. And I don't think, I know, and I believe that you all are absolutely amazing. And the V is that you guys are victorious. You guys chose to be victorious and not be victims of the challenges that you guys have went through in life. And another A, we just have a whole lot of A's. And another A, that I believe that you guys are absolutely unstoppable, that you guys didn't allow anything to stop what God's calling, you all to do. And the L, I believe that you guys have learned to let go of so many challenges of life, to let go and let God, guide you through, where you at right now. And another A is I can say that you guys are astonishing. And another B is you guys are very professional. And another A for me is that I am just amazingly amazed with the work that you guys are doing. I have watched some of the videos and the work that you guys do. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for, the effort that you guys put in to make this work to help people like me share my story, so it can help somebody out. And not only me, I'm sure, because if you guys have touched my heart, have touched my life with what you guys are doing, I am positive that everyone that has been on this show, that you guys have done just that. But that's the acronym for Behind the Lava Lava, from my heart to y'all.
Thank you. We greatly appreciate those kind words. Do you have any shout outs that you want to do on the show?
Yes. Well, my first shout out, of course, is to the amazing Jesse Safolu. I call him Brother Jesse. I want to say thank you for this. I call it a divine connection. I don't have the words to thank you, Jesse, for this connection that you have blessed me with. But everything goes to God, because if you never reach back to me, reply to my message, and then to call, meant a lot to me. And so, Jesse, once again, I thank you. I love you and the family. I am grateful for this connection for all of us. I can't wait to meet each and every one of you in person. And I want to really and truly thank my parents, of course, to God, to everyone, to my brother Willie in Vegas, my sister Malaya in Samoa, and to all my siblings. But I want to really thank my children. I want to thank Dominique, Nicole, Dean Jr., Victoria, Isabella. I have many other children, their friends, Asia, Taylor, all the kids that I was a part of their life. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Les Brown, who has transformed my life, Papa Les Brown, and the Gray family. I just have so many. That's why I said I don't want to mention any names until my doctor sister Carla. Please lift her up in prayers. And I'm grateful to have her in my life. To Yashika Mack, she wrote the foreword to my book. And to our amazing Congresswoman, Rifatali Amua Amata, she is the one who endorsed my book. And to all my readers, to everyone who has supported my journey, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. If you have a copy, or if you don't have a copy of this book yet, I encourage you to inbox me, and I would love to, send you a copy of my book. And I want to be, a blessing to you. And so if not, you can always get a copy on Amazon, reach out on my website, peleinspired.com. And last but not least, my dog, my lifeline, Debo. And I am grateful to everyone who has been a part of my life. And I am very grateful to all of you for this amazing connection. And I can't thank you all enough. And I want to say I love you guys. And I just pray, that God will continue to bless each one of you for the great work that you guys do for so many people. And for someone like me, I want to say thank you.
Fa'apepele Pele for joining us today. We are truly honored to have someone like you grace our show with your presence and tell us about your inspiring story and your experience. Words can't express our gratitude to you, but thank you for tuning into this episode of Behind the Lava Lava. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow Behind the Lava Lava and leave us a review. And also follow Pele on social media. Her social media handle is Pele Inspire. And thank you for joining us. We hope you found this interview informative and insightful. Until next time, tofa soifua.
Thank you. Love y'all.